Today I've got an awesome project to share with you. This is a digital surface level using an ESP32 development board from Waveshare. I created it for you with SquareLine Studio and LVGL 9, running on this compact but powerful 1.4-inch AMOLED touch display. And I think my table is not quite level, actually. To detect the angles, this surface level project uses the built-in 3-axis accelerometer and 3-axis gyroscope in this great board, making it super precise and fun to use. This little board is bright, colorful, and loaded with features. It's perfect for projects like this. In this video, I'll show you how to upload the surface level project to this board, customize it in SquareLine Studio, and even create your own project from scratch, using mine as a starting point, so you don't have to worry about configuring the display or struggling with the LVGL configuration. Since it's a touchscreen, you can also design amazing interactive interfaces. The link to this Waveshare board is in the description below if you want to grab one and follow along. Let's take a closer look at the hardware. On the front you have the screen, a sharp 466 by 466 pixels AMOLED capable of showing 16.7 million colors. Flipping to the back, we've got a really clean PCB layout. Here is the ESP32-S3 R8 chip. Just below is the 16 MB flash memory, giving you plenty of room for complex LVGL projects. Here's the QMI 8658 sensor, a combo 3-axis gyroscope and 3-axis accelerometer that powers the surface level project. And this tiny chip is the PCF 85063 real-time clock with a battery header for timekeeping, a port for a 3.7 volt lithium battery, a 4-pin I2C connector, a 4-pin UART connector. You also get a USB-C port for programming and power, a charging LED, a power LED, a boot button, and a reset button, and finally an antenna connector, and even this hidden micro SD card slot. Now let's get this project running on your board. Now step 1 is to download the project from my GitHub repository, and I've put the link in the video description. So when you are on my GitHub repository, just use this code button and click download zip. So it's going to be downloaded in your download folder. I will unzip it with 7-zip. Now you have to rename the folder of the project and remove the end, the dash main part of the name of the folder, because the folder name and the sketch name must be the same. So the easiest way to upload the code is with the Arduino Maker Workshop extension for Visual Studio Code. That's what I'll demonstrate first, but if you prefer using the Arduino IDE, just skip this chapter and I will show you how to upload the project from the Arduino IDE. So let's open the project first in Visual Studio Code. And I have the Arduino Maker Workshop extension already installed. And the project contains a YAML file, and the YAML file describes everything that is needed to upload the project. The board configuration, the version to use, and the libraries to use with the project. So everything will be downloaded when compiling the project. So let's open the Arduino Maker Workshop Home. And let's look at the profile that will be used. It's called the AMOLED profile. And the only thing maybe you have to change in the profile is the COM port where your board is connected. Mine is currently connected on the COM5 port. So that's the only thing you have to change. The ESP32 core version is already set. The LVGL version is already set. So the only thing we have to do is make sure we have the AMOLED profile selected, and we click upload. So the project will be compiled, and it may take a long time, and it's normal. LVGL is a very large library, so it takes some time to compile. So we're going to fast forward to the upload part of the process. All right, the project is now compiled. It's uploading to my Waveshare board. Now it's a fairly large project, so I think it's filling up 60% or so of the memory, of the 16 megabyte memory of the board. So once it's uploaded, the project is going to start. We will see the serial monitor opening, and we're going to get some messages printed on the serial monitor that shows us the different step, the different initialization step. Now, if you run into any problem, go to my GitHub repository, and you can open issues on my GitHub repository, and I'm looking at every issue that people file. So don't hesitate to open an issue, and it will help me if you copy the message printed on the serial monitor and you put it in the issue. So give a title of the problem on the issue, a description, and below paste the serial monitor that was shown after you uploaded the code. If you prefer to use the Arduino IDE, you just have to double click on the sketch.ino file inside the project folder, and it will open up the Arduino IDE. Now inside the Arduino IDE, go to the board manager and search for ESP32. And we need ESP32 core by Espressif system and installed version 3.3.0. And make sure that this is this version that you're using with the project, because this is the version I tested my project with. And if you don't see the ESP32 by Espressif systems, go to File, Preferences, and put this URL in this additional boards manager URL. And I've put this link in the video description. So you put this link there and you click OK. And you should be able to install version 3.3.0 of Espressif system. All right, next thing, go to this menu and select Other Port and Port. And we're going to look for the Waveshare board. And it's this one, the 1.43-inch S3 Touch AMOLED board. And you select the COM port where your board is connected. Mine is connected to my COM5 port on my computer. Now we need to set things for the board configuration. So go to Tools, and on this option, USB CDC on boot, make sure it is enabled. For the partition scheme, make sure the 16 megabyte flash is selected, and select the biggest one, the 3 megabyte for the application. It's large enough for the surface level project. And make sure PSRAM is enabled, because the project needs a lot of memory for display buffers, so it's important. And all the other options, you can leave it as they are. Now open the library manager and search for LVGL. And we need to install the version 9.2.2. And it's important because it's the version I tested and I created the surface level project with. So install this version, 9.2.2. And now we're basically ready to go. So you just have to click the upload button. So the project is going to compile, and after that upload. So we're going to fast forward to the upload part of the process. All right, so it's connecting to the board and it's uploading the code. So let's open the serial monitor. So we see the initialization steps occurring when the code is running. And if you run into any problem, you can go to my GitHub repository, go to the issues section and open an issue. So make sure you give a title that is a description of your problem. Make a detailed description of your problem here. and copy these messages that you get on the serial monitor and paste them below the description of your issue. It will help me find out what the problem is, and it will be easier for me to help you. If you want to modify the surface level project, I will show you how to do it in the SquareLine Studio application version 1.5.3. And if you enjoyed this video and want to support my channel, please give it a like, subscribe, and consider buying me a coffee. I sincerely thank you in advance. You are amazing. You can download SquareLine Studio for free for personal use from their website, and I've included the link in the description below. So let's open it. And this is not a full tutorial on SquareLine Studio. If you're new to it, I really recommend taking some time to explore and learn. It's easy to use and really rewarding. What I'll show you here is only what's needed when you want to customize the surface level project. The SquareLine Studio files for this project are already included in the folder you downloaded before. It's this one, SquareLine Studio Project. Move this folder outside of your download folder anywhere you want to keep it safe. I will move it to my desktop. And I will create a new folder. Let's call it UI Export. And we're going to use it in a minute. Now back into SquareLine Studio. Click Open Here. And at the bottom, click on Import Project. And locate the SquareLine Studio project you've moved out of the download folder. So it's this one. And select the surface level.spj file and click Open. So it's going to import the project into SquareLine Studio. Now let's open it. So it's a very simple project, just two screens. The first screen is the surface level application, and the second screen is just the logo of the Arduino Maker Workshop extension. So here you have the different images, the quadrant for the surface level, the bubble that is moved when you pitch or roll the screen, the title, some labels, the place where we show the degrees, and the target when the level is off, and the target on when the level is good. So it's a red target in that case. So let's make a quick change. Let's change this title here. And let's call it my surface level. Now before exporting the files, we need to change some settings. So go to File, Project Settings, and set both of these settings to the UI export folder that we created earlier. So you click Browse, and you go, in my case it was on the desktop, so you look for that folder and you choose Select Folder. Do that for both of them. And here set the screen to a circle. At the time of this recording, SquareLine Studio doesn't have a built-in template for a 466 by 466 round screen. So I'm using the 480 by 481 as a close match. Just keep that in mind when designing the UI. Click Apply Changes, and you just have to do that once. After that, if you reopen your project, you don't have to go to the settings again and change them. Now go to Export, Export UI Files, and the file will be exported in the UI export folder we created earlier. The last step is very simple. You just have to select all the files in the UI export folder, and you copy them, you move them into the project folder, and replace all the files that was there. And the next thing you have to do is just re-upload the project. If you are an advanced user of SquareLine Studio, you can create your project entirely from scratch. And one of the things to know is, let's create a new project. We'll save this one. So choose here version 9.2 LVGL and go to Maker Fabs, and I've used this template to create the surface level project. So you see here it's a screen 480 by 480, so I take that into account when I design the UI interface. And you don't have to worry about the display driver, the touch driver. Everything is already set up in the surface level project. So if you want to create your own project, let's see what you need to do in the surface level project to use it as a starting point for your new project. So I will use Visual Studio Code because we see all the file a lot easier. There are a lot of files in this project, but don't worry, the only one that is very important is the sketch, and everything else are just support files. So you have the files making the driver for the display controller, the files for the touch controller, and the files for the 3-axis gyroscope and 3-axis accelerometer, and the board config header file, which contains all the information for the Waveshare 1.43-inch development board. So if we go into the sketch, so this define here tells LVGL to use the LV configuration that is included in this project. So it's this one. And I have already set everything for the Waveshare development board, so you don't have to change anything. Maybe the only thing that you may adjust based on your project is the font that you use in your own project. Now in the sketch, there is this define here that tells the compiler to use the built-in surface level example. So if you want to use your own project, you just comment out this line, and this will disable all the code for the surface level project. So for example, here we have some global for the surface level project that are disabled. If you go down here, there is initialization just for the surface level example that are now dimmed and will not be used. And this is the UI init function call that you need to have for your own project. So everything that is not dimmed is required to be able to work with the Waveshare board. So the touchpad read for LVGL, the print to print log information coming from LVGL, the timing functions, the functions that shows the actual images on the display, so you need that one. And this one is a kind of fix for the display controller. This one you need it, and all the rest of the functions are just the code for the service level example, so you can remove them and replace them with your own functionality for your project. So all the files that start with UI underscore, you can delete them and replace them with the files that you will export from SquareLine Studio.